Interesting facts about famous people.
The top 10 Western comedy movies of all time. Okay, so it's always difficult to pick a top 10 of anything, as there are so many to choose from. I have added some runner-ups at the end of this video. Please drop me your comments, as it helps me decide on what to do next. I hope you get some laughs and fond memories from these. Evil Roy Slade, a 1972 made-for-television Western comedy film about the meanest villain in the West, directed by Jerry Paris. The film is considered a cult classic, stars John Austin and Mickey Rooney. Roy falls for a pretty schoolteacher and tries to change his ways, but a determined singing sheriff is out to bring him down. Go West, a 1925 silent Western comedy directed and starring Buster Keaton. Keaton portrays friendliness, who travels west to try to make his fortune. Once there, he tries his hand at bronco busting, cattle wrangling, and dairy farming, eventually forming a bond with a cow named Brown Eyes. Eventually he finds himself leading a herd of cattle through Los Angeles. Calamity Jane, a 1953 Western musical film, directed by David Butler, starring Doris Day and Howard Keel. The film is loosely based on the life of the Wild West heroine Calamity Jane, Doris Day, her saloon, and explores an alleged romance between her and Wild Bill Hickok, Howard Keel. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, a 1954 American musical comedy directed by Stanley Donen, set in 1950 Oregon, when a backwoodsman brought his wife home to his farm. His six brothers decided they wanted to get married too. A film critic called the barn raising sequence in Seven Brides one of the most rousing dance numbers ever put on screen. My Name is Nobody, 1973. The film follows the story of nobody, Terence Hill, who attempts to get his idol, Jack Beauregard, Henry Fonda, an aging gunslinger who only wants to retire, to take on the Wild Bunch gang of outlaws. Beauregard and Nobody duel in the street. Nobody is faster, and Beauregard falls to the ground, apparently dead. Later, Nobody walks by the ship that was to take Beauregard to Europe, where Beauregard is revealed to be in his cabin aboard, writing Nobody an affectionate farewell. They Call Me Trinity, a 1970 Italian spaghetti western comedy. The film stars Terence Hill and Bud Spencer as two brothers. Trinity, a lazy gunfighter with unnaturally fast drawing ability and marksmanship, encounters a pair of bounty hunters with an injured Mexican prisoner. Trinity calmly takes the Mexican away from the two men, killing them before they can shoot him in the back. Trinity and Bambino help defend a Mormon settlement from Mexican bandits and the henchmen of the land-grabbing mayor, a Mexican bandit, and their henchmen. Support Your Local Sheriff, also known as The Sheriff, is a 1969 comedy western film directed by Burt Kennedy and starring James Gardner, Joan Hackett, Walter Brennan, Harry Morgan. In the Old West, a man becomes a sheriff just for the pay, figuring he can decamp if things get too tough. The film is a parody of a common Western trope, the selfless, rugged stranger who tames a lawless frontier town. This title was derived from a popular 1960s campaign slogan, "Support your local police." Little Big Man, a 1970 Western, directed by Arthur Penn, based on the 1964 novel Little Big Man by Thomas Berger. Jack Crabb, looking back from old age, was raised by members of the Cheyenne Nation during the 19th century. The film is largely concerned with contrasting the lives of American pioneers and Native Americans throughout the progression of the boy's life. It stars Dustin Hoffman, Chief Dan George, Faye Dunaway, Martin Balsam, Jeff Corey, and Richard Mulligan. Blazing Saddles, 1974. A satirical Western black comedy directed by Mel Brooks. In order to ruin a Western town, a corrupt politician appoints a black sheriff, who promptly becomes his adversary. The film stars Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder. Brooks appears in 3 supporting roles: Governor William J. Le Petomane, a Yiddish-speaking Native American chief, and a director in line to help invade Rock Ridge, a nod to Hitchcock. He also dubs lines for one of Lily von Strupp's backing troupe. The supporting cast include Slim Pickens, Alex Karras, David Huddleston, as well as Brooks regulars Dom DeLuise, Madeline Kahn, and Harvey Korman. Bandleader Count Basie has a cameo as himself, appearing with his orchestra. The Gold Rush, a 1925 silent comedy film written, produced and directed by Charlie Chaplin. The prospector goes to the Klondike during the 1890s gold rush in hopes of making his fortune, and is smitten with a girl he sees in a dance hall. Chaplin drew inspiration from photographs of the Klondike gold rush, as well as from the story of the Donner Party, who, when snowbound in the Sierra Nevada, were driven to cannibalism or eating leather from their shoes. Chaplin, who believed tragedies and comedies were not far from each other, decided to combine these stories of deprivation and horror in comedy. He decided that his famous rogue figure should become a gold digger who joins a brave optimist determining to face all the pitfalls associated with the search for gold. Now it's time for the runner-ups.
Is the seat taken?
Maverick, 1994. Brett Maverick, needing money for a poker tournament, faces various comic mishaps and challenges, including a charming woman thief.
I'm Brett Maverick, ma'am, and I'm pleased to meet you.
The best day of
City
your life.
Slickers, 1991. On the verge of turning 40, an unhappy Manhattan
And you can't
yuppie
do when your kids
is
were
roped
born,
into
that's
joining
the
his 2 friends on a cattle drive in the southwest.
I got one.
Cat Ballou, 1965. A young schoolteacher turns into an outlaw to avenge her murdered father. Shanghai Noon, 2000. A Chinese man travels to the Wild West to rescue a kidnapped princess. After teaming up with a train robber, the unlikely duo take on a Chinese traitor and his corrupt boss.
I thought you were Raj. Just like that. See, kind of a rakish angle. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How do I look?
I think you look great. I think you look like a real cowboy. Very dapper.
Paint Your Wagon, 1969. 2 unlikely prospector partners share the same wife in a California gold rush mining town.
They'd better be, 'cause I'm gonna bury 'em! Let's go.